everybody, and welcome back to the Rockin' Beards podcast. It is episode 45, and I didn't update the board with the right numbers. Trust me, it's 45. And this week, it's your boy HSR.
Wait, so we've been pumping that we were almost at 30?
Oh,
And
fuck, am I on the wrong show?
Yeah, you're on the wrong show.
Fuck that shit up.
We're on episode 30. We're keeping that because it makes it more fun.
Okay,
He
fine.
failed.
All right, wrong show.
Hey,
Episode,
welcome
what, is
back
this 30?
for episode
Yes.
45.
Is this 30?
This is 30.
This is
Oh,
30,
shit.
guys. This is
Okay.
episode 30.
My bad.
There goes our whole celebration for being on 30 episodes. Thanks.
Hi, I'm HSR.
Hey guys, I'm back
Yeah.
in kind of black and red and
Yeah.
my cholo colors. What's up, gangsters? We are here, and next to me is who?
I'm Syd.
Yeah.
What's up?
So Jay was very excited for this album since like the first time he's been here.
That's apparently in like 17 weeks.
Yeah. So what album is it?
Oh, do I even need to talk? It's The Killers. A wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't want to say. I don't get
It's
the
a
name.
very bad title in my opinion. Anyway.
Could have just called it Wonderful, or maybe Wonderful. I don't know, something stupid. So
But let's wait until we get into the title
Okay.
track, right? Because that's
that's
no,
very
but
fair.
you can have a good song, but the title for the CD could be shit.
That's
fair
true.
enough. It's a dumb title.
Um,
It's like if I name my debut rap album. Like, would you want to listen to that?
honestly,
You want to rip on it?
I might be a little curious, to be honest, if
Yeah, I
you did
mean,
call it
that'd be
debut
kinda
rap
cool.
album.
Like,
However,
I just dropped-
if you called your album debut, I would no longer be so interested
Or-
in
No, I'd
listening
still
to
be
it.
into that.
Or album.
I'd be like, all right,
Or
debut.
my debut album would
into
be
it.
called Album.
Like if you called it like list of songs, I'd be super into that.
I'd be into that. And one of the songs is called List of Songs, and it's like Arcade Fire Infinity Content. Remember that
Yeah,
song?
like an alphabetical list of your favorite songs, but like that's it. That's the whole
it.
song.
That's it. Like, oh man.
So the
Yeah,
Killers.
so the Killers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I bought that first album, Hot Fuss or whatever.
Hot Fuzz. Yeah.
Whatever it
Is
is.
that what it was called, really?
Hot Fuzz or Hot Fuzz?
Fuzz. I think it's Fuzz.
I think it's Fuzz.
I
Or
think
it might be
Hot
the movie.
Fuzz is
Yeah,
the
Hot
movie.
Fuzz is a great movie. The
It
Killers.
is a good one. But so I really liked like songs on that album. I didn't like the whole thing, and it's not because it was bad. It was just a little out of my interest sphere. But
Well,
they were like
What did you call it?
Uh,
You said this album was Fuff.
no, this current one,
Oh, you're talking
not
about the past
Hot
one?
Fuzz,
Oh.
Hot Fuzz, whatever. That was an okay album. Like I actually kind of was feeling it a bit. Then the next album came, and I was getting into harder music, and the Killers seemed to be going in softer directions, and so my interest fell further. Then the Santa Claus song came.
Yeah,
That
we
was-
just watched that before.
that
I
was
can
it.
understand.
That
Which
was
one
that
the
was.
Santa Claus song.
Where he
Don't
kills Santa?
shoot me, Santa
Where he gets
Claus.
kidnapped by like a crazy
Yeah, no,
Santa Claus
it's
guy.
really it's called "Don't Shoot Me, Santa Claus." We found it and watched it like before you got here, and
remember
honestly, it's as bad as I remember, and I don't know why it exists. And basically,
Okay.
that's when I fell off. And for those of you who like the song, I don't care. It was really bad for me, and it made me not want to listen to the Killers up until this moment. And there's a giant gap in my knowledge, and I have no idea what happened in between.
Well, there's an actual really good song. I gotta go back into like 2 albums ago. I think it's the album with the Neon Tiger, where I find like they got a bit like they took from the CD, because the majority of the CD is more like questioning, deep, darker. It's
Right.
not
Yeah.
it's not the Mr. Brightside, even though Mr. Brightside is kind of a sad song in a way too. So that's what they do. They like to make like The Man. So their debut song, they're big. Without going to, I'll go into more detail when we get to the song. But that's a good example of what's to come. So to bring it fast, the reason why I love the Killers, they're my favorite band. I'm biased on this review, so I have to put it out there. I'm most likely to be arguing with these two guys. It's just whenever I had a sad moment, or I don't know, even like their music is kind of cheesy at times. But it's one of those things. It's like a
Hold
guilty
on.
pleasure.
Doesn't he say February wrong in Somebody Told Me? Like, doesn't he just say it incorrectly? Like, he says February instead
I
of
don't know.
February. Anyway,
I
that
always
always bothered me.
I always disliked that song.
Mr. Brightside?
No, Mr. Brightside is.
No,
was
Somebody
like-
Told Me.
Oh, I actually love that song, but it gets annoying. It's
Yeah.
overplayed. But that's the thing. The Killers are the perfect radio band for like Showman and
Yes.
Virgin, and they're also one of the
They're
bands.
safe.
They're like Coldplay in a way too, because they love to have DJs come on their songs and make So many remixes. They love it. All their albums, every time there's a fucking deluxe edition. Sorry for the swearing, YouTube lovers.
No, we're okay. The ad robots apparently don't like it if we talk about firearms. I think
We're not talking about that.
And that's it. That seems to be the only taboo thing I can find based off of the YouTube ad robots so far, so we can swear a bit.
Okay, so they're one of those bands, like I'll give you an example. You know who I put them all together with? They're with the
Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon. I was going to say Leon Kings.
Leon
Kings. King of Leons. They're Imagine Dragon. They're The Killers, Coldplay. All those bands that kind of have like the same similar song. They love it when DJs come on and they do like a remix. And they always. But the thing is, I gotta give respect to The Killers. They stick with the same two DJs to remix their songs always. It's always Duke and something else. I forget his name.
Okay.
Very cool.
And
I was listening to the list of bands you just named and realized, like, I don't know any of their music. I don't listen to any of those bands. I'm, like, out of touch with this particular, I guess, subgenre. I don't even know what to call this.
What he said makes a lot more sense to me, like, comparison-wise than what you were saying before, where it's, like, Queens of the Stone Age and, like, the Foo Fighters.
This is just, like, what I'm comparing it to, I guess, based on what I've heard.
Yeah.
It's the most, like, patchable things.
Well, we did the Imagine Dragons CD, and if you look, they did, what's it called, the regular edition. It was whatever, but then when we had gold, what did they just do? They released the remix with gold on the deluxe.
Okay, I see what you. I mean, I'm saying you're right.
I know. No.
It's just I realized how little I know about this world.
Oh, that's it. But I have to say one thing. I don't consider them pop, and I don't consider them alternative. I feel like they're making their own genre now. See, he's so bored about it. So I'm gonna stop talking for him and let him go on this now.
That was not a dig towards Jay. I'm actually just very tired.
He beat me up.
Every day. The makeup is good. I apply it to him after I kick his ass. But like, yeah, I mean, I never really listened to the Killers. I've heard their singles on the radio.
There you go.
Mr. Brightside is one of my favorite songs of all time. I will admit to that.
It's a particularly good gem.
It's a great tune.
It's
the
like
Killers, but
so much
80s throwback bands.
So much.
Never really been a fan. And I mean, the Killers do that in spades. That is their thing.
Actually, I disagree with the 80s thing because I could see it.
Yeah.
They're right about that in a way. But the thing is, their biggest influence, first off, people have to know they're not big in the States. They do have a following in the States, and they will sell out in the States. But their bread and butter comes from the UK.
That makes sense.
A lot.
Japan eats this up.
Oh,
though.
that can't consider that's just they
Like,
probably have an anime show about the Killers there.
They're like Brit rock and 80s dance pop had a baby.
Oh yeah.
That's what the Killers is.
Their biggest muse is the Rolling Stones. So
Yeah.
if you notice, like he brought a great point. They got funky. Instead of going rock, they went funk. Yeah, you saw that hand motion. Woo.
Okay.
So and you know who does that a lot and who is inspired by funk and soul and everything was Mick Jagger, right?
Okay.
And Keith Richards. So their biggest thing, their biggest influence, and they love Paul McCartney. They try and like you gotta remember they're from Vegas, too. Like they do everything from Vegas.
Very very glitzy sound.
So every time they make a song, they kind of show a little ambiance to who the king of rock and roll. Oh, thank you.
What about that conch?
That was stupid.
I want to say that whatever we can say about their music, this album is clearly trend hopping.
Oh yeah.
And I want to call it out. It's following the 2017 norm of not putting your album name, like the band name, anywhere on the cover. It doesn't have any real identifier except for some symbol. It's very simple. It's very plain. It's meant to be a thumbnail.
There's two
so
covers.
It's effective. Yeah, and the other cover
Is the conch in the sand.
So yeah, we were looking at the one with like the blue sky and the beach, and it's like a hand holding it up. And then on the deluxe edition, you'll see how it's kind of like on the ground and there's some concrete or whatever. And it's the same thing. It's like I don't know who decided this is the way to.
I'm gonna have to get back to you as to whether or not that's a 2017 trend.
Or it could be a trend.
I feel
replaying.
like that's not a new thing.
It might not be like a new thing per se, but let's say I only started noticing it in album because released this year over the last 3 or 4 months.
Because you keep saying that this album is a trend hopping album, and I didn't hear anything through my listen through. I mean, there were songs I didn't like, and there were songs I did like, but I didn't hear anything that
realized I don't know a damn thing about the genre of music, so anything I said previous to this perhaps isn't the most valid opinion, except for this album cover crap, because I have been watching albums come out all year, and certain styles of music seem to be pushing for this super minimalistic, and it's not just rap or whatever. I'm saying the more pop-oriented major label releases seem to be doing this type of thing, where it's these simple, brandless, almost iconic looking covers.
Yeah, I mean, it's eye-catching, right? It's like, oh, there's a conch shell. What's this album about? Big hand holding it up like it's the Olympic flame or something like that.
Well, you know what kind of wanted to say? So the last album was Battleborn. It was made in 2012. And you never know. Sometimes maybe the conch is the battle horn.
Okay.
So like a lot of people make jokes. You know, you can blow into a conch. But then again, that's just me. Another thing is I wanted to challenge people. Maybe there is hidden things in the picture that we're not seeing. Maybe the name is actually there and we just didn't see it. It could be hidden in the. It could be hidden in the beach or
you're
the
right.
signs.
Maybe
So,
find Waldo.
That's
But
it.
like wonderful is. I'm not a fan. I just want to say it's not that the idea of wonderful is probably a lovely idea. I don't like it putting two words in a row.
Well, it could have a deeper meaning for the song too.
Microsoft Word puts a red squiggle on it, and it just that is mostly the source of my grievance here, as putting it out.
In terms of titles, I don't think it's the best title, but I also think it suits
the song maybe.
Well, it suits what the Killers do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Right?
they make
Like,
beautiful music, but in
they
between,
make happy music. It's really not necessarily lyrically, but the music is very upbeat. It's very dancey.
that's exactly it. They love to cast an image of pleasantness
Wonderful, you know.
But in the background of everything in real life, we all know it's not always wonderful. So
Yeah.
that goes into that title explains this whole album.
Okay, and
we'll talk about it in depth
I
after.
wonder if just because of the recent buzz, this has anything to do with the Lord of the Flies movie that's being remade with the conch and the representation of that. This is what I'm thinking of now as we're discussing.
I still can't. It's going
I
to be an
didn't even know
all-woman
there-
cast. Is that
Yeah.
okay?
Oh,
So that's happening, and I wonder if they heard that at some point near the end of production of this album or something before they
I just want
released
to
the
add
cover,
a quick thing, please.
and they're like, "Lord of the Flies, let's do it," and then boom.
If you didn't know this, internet, they are Ghostbusters in Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my whole thing I was about to say. Look, you guys made the Ghostbuster an all-female cast. Let's just be honest. Sometimes it works and it actually never works. But
No,
let's
it
just-
works.
yeah,
It
with
totally
Ghostbuster-
works.
Ghostbuster worked?
The problem.
Ghostbusters. I didn't see it.
watch it
So,
before you talk, my good sir.
But I don't think that was because it was an all-woman
No,
cast. I
it
think
wasn't
just a
because
bad
it was
movie.
an all-woman cast. It was because the jokes were poorly written. That was.
Oh yeah, really? Because you know half of them had intel. They made half of those jokes. You're telling me? Oh no.
That
Sorry,
doesn't-
that movie was crap. Let's get over it. Let's start
Yes,
with a
yes.
wonderful. Because
Yeah.
that movie was so wonderful. Welcome back to the show. My name is Jay, and I act like HSR because I want to talk about the wonderful.
I don't know. So right off the bat, it's totally not my kind of song. It's I was really interested in the fact that this song was about something like genuine.
Mhm.
So, my first criticism, well, not criticism, a positive thing to say is he's a particularly good songwriter when he wants to, like, when he applies himself, because there are examples where he does not apply himself on this
I
album.
mean, I think for this you have to say they, right? I don't think it's one guy writing the song.
He writes a lot of it on his own.
Does he?
Well,
Is it
according,
Brandon
okay,
Root? Is
so
that his
so
name?
Brandon had multiple
What was
interviews
it?
with NME.com or whatever, the new meta whatever music people. I can't remember their name. The way he described it is he wrote everything, but if you look at the writing credits, there's obviously more than just him involved in the process. So I assume it's like he came because the song's about his wife specifically.
Well,
Right.
that's it. He had
and like it's kind of like she's trying to deal with her situation of deep trauma and whatnot, and she's depressed and other sadder things, and he's trying to convey to her that even though like it's all dark and everything's kind of crappy, that ultimately he's gonna be there for her and provide her the strength, and it will be really wonderful, and it's freaking like sweet, and it's got this
ominous.
romantic side to it where I don't know, honestly I've been dealing with relatable things, so I can kind of get where it is coming from, but then I also was like, it's 5 minutes and it's not exactly my favorite sounds coming out of it. His voice is one of those voices you will really like or you will not necessarily enjoy.
Yeah.
And
a thing about him is a lot of the times in their music is he's going to be raw and he's going to sing it with emotion and heart, or it's going to be upbeat and there's a lot of editing done.
right.
So
Okay.
this is one of those songs where it's a lot raw, and like you said, there's so much pain and love he's trying to show in this one song. It's the title song. It's right off the bat, which I appreciate, because some of the times the title songs suck really bad.
That is true.
And this one wasn't like, look, I'm a Killers fan. I'm not a fan of this song completely. I will give it a decent grade, but I like it because at one point it's very dark. It's very painful. You're feeling him, and it's kind of like gut wrenching to a point. And it's like, what the hell is going on in your life? And then if you do your research, you see what's going on. And a lot of times, that's the thing. And all his music and his music videos is he's gone back to to the girl from Mr. Brightside, or somebody told me. And he's trying to show you a story of that whole thing. He went with Atomic Girl. And they love to tell a good story. They paint a... And another thing they did well was they went straight to like a deep section instead of that, somebody told me, happy, and it's depressing actually, the story. This was like, we're not gonna...
Well,
I want you to know what I'm going
say
through.
that pretty much all of the, like, somebody told me is a depressing as fuck song too, but there's a difference in the way that it's depressing, because somebody told me is like a 21-year-old idiot, and you kind of like, you don't really feel bad for him, but this is a man trying to pour his heart and soul into saving the woman he's in love with. This is like on par with The Notebook, with like what he's dealing with. And I think that you're right. It's got some...
I can't refer to The Notebook because as a man, I've never watched it.
It's truly divine, and you should watch it. It's certainly an effective tool to say, I'll watch The Notebook with you when dating.
That's why you're in a relationship and I'm not.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I really like this song.
Wow.
It was not what I was expecting from the Killers.
Okay.
I pressed play on this thing, and right away I was hooked. I love the bass line. I love the way the hook changes feel a little bit. I really, really like the vocal delivery. I thought there was a lot of pain and a lot of emotion in it. You're right, he has a very divisive voice, but I felt like it was cool, and it really works on this track.
It does.
I'm surprised that you didn't like it as much as I
100%,
did.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I give this track a 4.5. I thought
For
it was
real?
near perfect. It was a great intro, and there are a couple of songs on this track. Like, this is a really long record, and there
It's 10
are
songs. But the thing is, another thing with them, people don't realize.
Well, to be fair on that note, we did do the deluxe
we did
extra
the
one
deluxe
track.
edition, but that last song is only 3 minutes.
So
the
let's
rest
say
of it,
it's like 46 minutes all in-ish.
and
47.
there are
some
there
songs
are
are
a few songs on this that I really thought should have been either shorter or just not there. But I really did like this one, and I wasn't bored once.
Okay.
Throughout the 5
I give
minutes.
it a 4.
I give it a 4 as well. For me, by the end of the song, look, there wasn't enough, I guess, life or in it to sustain the 5 minutes for me.
Yeah, that's exactly
So
right.
had it been maybe even 30 seconds shorter, just a little bit less over
3
the
minutes
top,
and 30
because
seconds,
I
4
feel
minutes.
like even from this song, you start to feel like they're trying to be over the top musically, at least. And I don't know what like a lot of sounds, a lot of effects, not
Yeah,
necessarily the
but,
band.
I mean, I
but
think
the,
for me,
the production of the song.
what was cool was that there were names that were popping into my head as I was listening to this song that I don't associate with the Killers. Like I was hearing names like Alice in Chains started popping into my head just through the slow, like really grungy bass line. Alice in Chains, Soundgarden,
Okay.
bands like that. But they did it in their own way, where there's a lot of like electronic sounds, a lot of samples going on, as opposed to just like
They're electro rock. I don't know what their genre is called.
well, they're dance rock.
Are they?
But like, yeah.
Glamour rock. That's what they call them. Glamour indie
Well,
rock. They got a song.
glam rock would be more like
They're glam rock of this generation.
would be Motley Crue or like
Yeah.
The Darkness or like
You'll see the reason why I call it glam rock in the next song. But go
Okay.
on with your continuation.
Anyway, go on with the continuation. Continue with the going on.
Please.
But yeah, no, 4.5.
All right. So
Say
now
fuck
that
you.
we have
The man.
Yeah, the man.
Oh, I'm here. You're welcome.
Liked this song as well.
I honestly, for
Wow.
me, it started to go in a worse direction. I was less feeling this track. Okay, here's my problem with it. And it really was an annotation on Genius that put my brain into the worst possible frame of mind for this song, right? So apparently it's him regretting like his arrogance back in the day. And he fully captures and presents this arrogance excellently. But it almost sounds promoting it in the way that he delivers this song. And if his intent was to be like woeful with it, I just don't see it.
No, he wants to be cocky. He wants to show you why. And that's the thing. This is one of those music videos. For you to get the message, you have to look at the video. And a good thing about this song, why I like this song, is because it's like, it's so cocky and flagrant. Like, I can see this on an NFL Sunday with the players dancing after scoring a touchdown. I could see you at a bar drinking a beer, and then, like, you know, the Thor is like another. But, you know, as soon as this song comes up, as a scene in for a movie, you throw it on the ground, and you just go on the dance floor and you start being cocky as hell.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I really did get the impression that this song was putting on a persona and sending a message. Like, I didn't check the Genius. But no, I mean, I full on got that impression. It's a funky little tune. It sounds really sarcastic.
Yeah.
The lyrics convey that really well, and the hook is great. I really like what they do at the end, where they have that kind of like, and then there's like there's a calm down.
Did not like that.
I didn't like it at first, and then I went back and listened to it. And musically, that's really cool, and the effect that it gives, you listen to it and it happens, and you think that the song is skipped, and you pause it, so you're like, what the hell just happened? But if you listen to it all the way through and let it play, it's a really, really cool change, and it makes for a really cool effect, and the end builds and climaxes in a way that not a lot of other artists are able to do in 25 seconds. Mm-hmm. So I was really impressed by that. I like that there's a key change. I really like the funkiness going on. And it doesn't sound synthetic at all, even though it really is.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, no, I really dug this song. I dug the video too. I liked how there was like a lot of different iterations of some douchebag being the man. I really appreciated that. He's actually a fun actor to watch.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
like,
I was
reminds me of his face and everything, his body, and how he jokes around. It kind of reminds me of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
This one gets a 4.5 for me. Sorry, Holden. Please hate, and then you Jay, you can love it all.
It's not like hating, right? I understand what the song is trying to do. It's just like I get it all. It's well written. It really is. It's funky. It's just really not my cup of tea. It's like when Jay hears one of those thrashy metal songs and just like goes, I don't want to listen.
Fair enough.
It's like that. I'm like, people like I've tried so hard to get into these kinds of sounds. I just
and
don't
you get
even.
so far.
I don't. Yeah, and in the end, it really doesn't fucking matter because, look, this came on. I don't feel cocky listening to this. I feel like, man, it's kind of lukewarm. It's kind of fluffy. It's well composed fluff to me.
Like,
right?
I don't think you're supposed to feel cocky. I think you're supposed to want to get up and dance, and if it doesn't do that for you, then that's that.
Like, for me,
but I don't think you're supposed to feel cocky.
But I still just to be clear, respect and admire the talent behind the band. Like, they really aren't boring. That effect threw me off, and I did just like let it play through and everything, and then it did build up again. But again, it's a preference thing. I don't really like, even when rap tries to do those weird skippy shits. It's just not. Yeah. It's not my cup of tea. So I give it a 3.5 because I recognize it's not boring. It's just not me in any real way.
Well, so
he's like, yes.
No. He's like, he kind of blew my mind in a way. I understand his point a lot better. I just like it. Like I said, it's one of those songs where you have to go back and see the story. So that's what they like to do. They like to capture images. They're all about the video. And this is a perfect Killer song. Why? Because it's one of those songs like we were saying before. And they're going to come back because they forgot to mention, we are not reviewing the deluxe edition. So if you did have the deluxe edition,
we're reviewing the extra track, but I didn't do the remixes.
That's what we're talking about.
Oh, fuck the remix.
So that's what I'm trying to bring up.
So
this is the song they chose to remix. And that's why I brought up in the intro, like, about the DJs. They use the same two DJs, and you can tell this is, like, as soon as I heard it, I'm like, okay, this is the song that they're going to have the techno or the dance or DJ remix. And it's like, you just knew it.
Yeah.
It's every single one of their CDs, like Humans, Bright Side, Somebody Told Me. You could just tell this is going to be the main song.
Okay, here's where I'm going to drop my statement. This is the Macklemore of rock music. That's what this song is.
Completely
it's the freaking Macklemore. It's so safe, and like your mom's going to bump this, you're going to bump this, grandma's going to bump this, and it doesn't make it bad. But I feel like it's just fluffy safeness.
On the other hand, you have to consider that we're only 2 tracks in, and we've already had 3 very differing opinions on those 2 tracks, and that doesn't happen a lot.
No.
So for a band to create music that still sounds like them, that causes these kinds of conversations, that's really cool to me. I think
that was one of the biggest things I was reading online after listening to this album at least 10 times. I didn't listen to any other music except for the Killers yesterday, and I didn't listen to the old Killers. I listened to this CD about 10 times because why? I'm biased.
That's
like
fair.
I said, and I really wanted to jam. And to be honest, when I listened to it the first 4 times, I hated the CD. I only like the man. Why? Because it's like, and then when you really sit down, you look at the videos, which we did for the first time before, and you're like, oh, I get it now. And then you read upon the struggles that he's going on in his life. You know, a lot of times they don't need to make new music. They have enough CDs. They could just be one of those bands that rely on their old music.
Royalties,
yeah. Not even royalties. They could have just came out, do like 3 shows in Vegas. They're like the next Celine Dion in Vegas for sure, and they live in Vegas.
What I'm saying is, like, it's cool. Okay, so you are a huge fan. You didn't like it at first. It took you a few listens, and then you had to check out what it was about. I came into it not being a Killers fan, and I actually ended up really, really liking this album. And you came into it not being a Killers fan, and you ended up not liking the album so much. So it's cool that between the 3 of us, you have this sample of like all of these differing opinions.
This album, it didn't.
Like he says, it's fluff. Me, I don't think it's fluff because
when I say
some songs are fluffy.
Look, let me define fluff. I don't think it's lyrically fluffy. I think that every song, weirdly enough, has a pretty strong point. But even if you look at the way he wrote it, it's like he just took a bunch of random, simple, cliche ideas and like laid them out, right? And maybe that was done on purpose for the sense of being obviously satirical, which maybe I missed the point on. Fine, but that to me is still like he could. There's almost a lack of cleverness to it, a lack of a certain edge or a certain brilliance that he's clearly capable of, that he's not demonstrating, that I would like more of. And again, that comes down to preference. So I feel like he knows what the algorithms of the radio want, and he'd rather write it for that than he would for the next level. And it's fine. It's the Killers. They're like, the algorithms probably use the Killers to help define themselves. Don't get me wrong. They are that influential in this world relative to the fame they have and stuff. And I don't understand it, but... Okay, anyway, I'm just kind of going on.
Yeah, I mean, we should go on to the next song, otherwise we're going to end up in a rut.
Yep.
Keep pretending this next stop isn't mine.
I feel like this album is starting to get stuck in a rut of my interest not being fully there.
Oof.
Like, it's like another one. This song it's beautiful again. Like, it really is. He's empathetic enough to take on the perspective of his wife who is dealing with these complex emotions. He's taken the time to like learn about it, and he's writing from her perspective as she's like singing to him almost, and it's like he's communicating that he can hear her, and it's again notebook level romantic stuff, and it really catches me in the feels from that perspective. But then about 2.5 minutes into the song, I felt like, oh snap, this is just really not evolving much. And then it really didn't do a lot more for me for the whole second half of the song, because it just kind of felt like the energy and everything, like, you know, at the other 2, as they went on, there was like more and more that got thrown into them, and it was very much cool, even if I wasn't a huge fan of it. But in this one, didn't happen, kind of flowed out, and it was again kind of, I was left with like a lukewarm feeling. Like, again, I respect and admire what was being done without personally really enjoying the experience that much.
Interesting. Like, we don't usually disagree this much. I really like this track, and I don't usually like tracks like this, but I think I felt the honesty on this one. I felt kind of the nakedness, and I like the way how it doesn't get super heavy, and a lot of these songs don't get super heavy. You know, they start really soft and they kind of stay soft and subtle while still kind of pushing layers, but like subliminal layers almost.
Okay.
That get added. Like, the drums come in on this one, and they're not particularly wild or crazy, but they do kind of shift the feel of the song to a more driving feel, even though it's still a slow song when they kick in, and there's that constant kind of 80s guitar vibe going on in the back. The intro sounds a little bit like Kanye West, and there's a little too much auto-tune going on there, and I'm not a fan of it. But the rest of the track I really, really enjoy. This one, I'm giving it a 4.
Okay. I give it a 3.5 if it counts. Again, this isn't boring. It's just, like, I could see how my girlfriend would like this a lot more than I would. And I could see why other groups of people would really like this. Like, in Montreal, Virgin 96 would own this and play it to all those people. Even the soft rock stations would jump on this.
Sean would be on
I think
this.
Sean would be on this.
Yeah, but that was where, I guess, the next evolution in the other direction. But the fact that it's going in so many directions.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
It's
cool.
amazingly
It's diverse.
formulaic.
Like this song would be perfect if it was played
Like,
on
I
piano.
almost see the math equations behind the song, and they're really good at it. And that part is
I don't
cool.
hear that. I don't hear
on piano.
the formulaic.
Like, maybe I'm wrong. Like, I'm not even trying to say that, like, I'm right about this. This is just my impressions when I heard it. It felt like radio music has this. It's a little long, and one of the videos did get, like, clipped. I don't know if it was the man or the other one.
No, Run for Cover.
And it did get, like, shortened down. So maybe to some degree the length of the song is the only part where it's not the most radio friendly. But 4.5 minutes isn't the longest song. Like, it's not like
it's
they're
because
really.
the
really,
tempo
like-
of the song makes it feel longer.
Mm.
But another thing is I wanted to bring a point is this is where I have a problem with this song is because it's all about placement, and I feel like if you're gonna tell a story about your wife, the 3 songs should be played after each other. So instead of having the first song, then the man, and then the rut, why would I put? It's like no, because the man has nothing to do with what's going on in the situation.
That
with,
is. I wonder if maybe just because you.
Oh, that
you're
could actually
making
be a
me
good
trigger
point.
it.
Yeah.
What if what ended up
Causing
triggering this most recent episode is because of his arrogant douchebaggery over a certain period of time? Anyway, just
No,
to
that's
see
a
if
good-
there's a connection.
That's a very good point.
Maybe.
And if we find out later that maybe he did something like cheat or
There is a lyric
wasn't giving attention.
somewhere on the album, and I don't remember what song it is, but one of the lyrics does imply that part of the problem is he can't change what he's done, and he wants to just kind of make it better now. And I don't remember where it was.
Maybe okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So maybe the man is a part of the story, and I just didn't realize it. But like, if it isn't, and it has nothing to do with this story, why would I? I don't like the fact that
My question though, and I mean I do agree with you. I'm gonna get into it on the next track. How I feel about the placement of songs on this album, but I didn't mind it so much for these first 3. And the question is this a concept album? Like, is it a story? Like, is it supposed to be a
No.
fluid story, or is it just
See, I don't.
inspired by
See,
troubles going
I
on in my
feel
life,
like
which is just what
'Cause
there
that
is
would
a
bring
bit
more-
that's
of.
what most albums are, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it doesn't bother me so much that they would stick a song about this, a song about this, a song about this, as long as musically they kind of flow. And I felt like these 3 musically,
Cool.
like this feels like a 3rd track to me. And it, you
But,
know,
like,
it's
that's the
cool
thing,
coming
'cause-
after the kind of happy, fun energy of the man and the kind of like almost
Yes.
insidious nature of the first track. This one's kind of like really, really, really heartfelt
But
and really like
that-
it's the song your girlfriend is gonna like.
yeah,
but
but that's where my point is. Like, maybe if we took out the man, because for a person who's like getting annoyed in a way, like, because he brought up a point where it's too long. Maybe if we
Yeah.
had the first rut and then the 3rd song, which we'll be hearing after, together, it would play a better story. Because like like Trapped in the Closet had like 50 videos. Maybe this is an opportunity for them to make one nice little montage.
I actually do think there's a degree of story to it, and looking at it, right? Because if you look at the beginning, it's him trying to like convince his wife. Maybe this is just me piecing it together, but I see it like it starts off like he's trying and it's not working, and then he gets reflective, and then he thinks, "Is it me?" And then now we're like, she's talking to him in this song. This is what's going on. Just be patient with me. And then it really kind of flows. Each song is a little bit more of an exploration, I guess, and of like him dealing with these emotions until the very end, where it just obviously didn't get better, right?
Yeah.
So like, I just want to say I don't know that it's like a Kendrick Lamar tiered freaking concept album, but most concept albums aren't necessarily the most linear story either.
I like the Kendrick Lamar is the example you go to there.
I can't think of a dude who... A Good Kid, Mad City is one of the most interesting concept albums that I've found.
We just did Green Day like 3 weeks ago.
I would stand to say I prefer because Green Day wrote a concept album that deliberately had holes in it.
That's a story.
Yeah, but it had holes in the story.
Sure.
Good Kid, Mad City didn't have holes in the story. It was a very clearly tight-knit, amazing experience. And anyway, it was more well put together. We've reviewed both of them, so you can check them out if you want. That's all I'm trying to say. Click on the channel.
Looking surprised.
Looking support.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's more life to come.
Yeah, that's true.
I gave it a 4.
Shit! Did you not?
I'm gonna just keep that in like that.
Yeah. Hang on, spoiler alert, before these other two guys talk, we are now getting into 3 songs that I absolutely hated. So that's my opinion for for the next 3 songs. I'm just going to sit back here and be a mersh. Go ahead.
I actually enjoy the song. I like it. It's a killer song. It's a typical killer song. Like, it's one of those filling songs that they have. You're just like, okay, so they're taking a break from the story, and they're just adding some content.
They are taking a break from making music, yes.
Honestly, here's what there's no break in the story even. This is just like the last song is his wife saying, "I'm stuck in a rut," and now he's saying, "Have faith, there's life to come." It's a direct response to the previous song. Like, it thematically, in terms of the lyrics, really makes sense for placement. However, it is the fluffiest freaking track I've heard so far. Like, we're talking like every trick radio music's gonna use to like lure you in and put your lighters up in a moment, and like the live show's probably stupidly elaborate with also. It's not bad. It's just a song like this to me doesn't have a lot of like the structuring and the feel of it doesn't have a lot of soul for me. The lyrics, the way he himself is singing it, had like a completely different musical backing under it. Even if it was on a hip hop beat, I'd freaking probably like this track a lot more because I could feel it. And the way he's singing so far on every song, I'm giving him the credit. But then just the whole package is just like really sugary candy, and I don't like it that much.
Well, that's the thing. They become like a pop band, right? They're like a pop band.
They're freaking 3 on 5. Like, it's not that it's bad. It's just so boring to me that I couldn't listen to this, even though I really admire again what he's doing with it.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pleasant. It was really like, it was upbeat. It was good. It's like so generic. Oh, but what more can you say? It's a typical killer song. They have every like CD. They have 2 or 3 of these, and they're good. Like, you could play. It's like one of those songs. Like, you know what's the messed up part about the Killers? Almost every one of their songs could be a radio hit. That's the thing. Like, I feel like every one of their songs are a hit though.
But
like, they don't make bad music.
That's not a good thing.
I mean, that's not fair.
No,
I said the same thing about the Foo Fighters last week. Every single one of those songs could have been a radio hit.
But alternative rock radio hits. It's not across the spectrum radio hits.
But that's the thing with the Killers. They could be across the spectrum.
The Killers are across the spectrum.
I'm not gonna hate on music just because it's
like,
diverse.
And I'm not. No, what I mean is, Foo Fighters is not gonna make it onto the like stupidly soft rock like moms listen to it radio station, whereas the Killers will.
How can I say this?
And it's not. And I'm not trying to say that this is like bad music. I'm just saying interest here. I'm like not into like what I call radio music is safe, super safe. Like they don't really push the boundaries of edge anymore. They like stay in the box. The music they make makes a shit ton of money, and I admit that The Killers is a great example of what great pop radio music can be. Because it's great. It's well composed. But fuck, do I find it boring.
I'm on a more basic level than that for this one. I just felt like they didn't need 2 power ballads back to back. This is basically the same song as Rut, just not as good. I felt like even the vocal delivery on this one was lackluster. It was almost amateur, like compared to the delivery he's had on the previous 3 tracks, which was top notch. It was really,
I feel like
good.
There was more meaning and soul behind the other song. This was trying to be like, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay,
Yeah.
but without that explosiveness. But maybe that's the thing. This is the calm before the storm.
But we already had that calm.
Maybe it came back because you never know with what she's dealing with.
Well,
It's
again,
there's good points and bad things.
Sure.
Like, that's why I think
and
that
the difference between someone's personal life and marketing an album that's supposed to click, on a business perspective.
Yeah, but
just on a musical
like, it's
perspective, this
more
one
than
just
that.
doesn't click for me.
That's why, like, if you really think about the marketing, it's why he has the interview on every song to, like, explain the story. So
absolutely. But just on a basic musical
Agreeing with
level,
you.
this song is just boring. Where it's placed on the album is boring. Maybe had it been placed a little later on and not right after another song that was the same thing, I would have been a little more into it. But it's another 4.5 minute song. It's long. It's droning. It's just it doesn't do what any music is supposed to do for me.
Right.
Which is rough to say, but.
And how did you feel?
I loved it. The thing with the Killers for me is, like, if you think of bands that are superstars, like, you got like bands that are really out there, like Coldplay, and they are a superstar group.
Are Coldplay really out there?
Yeah.
Are they different?
Maybe,
They have.
See,
in a
Coldplay
way,
to me is the radio formula band. Like, I like Coldplay a lot, but
in the beginning, now yes. And that's what I'm trying to go to. I'm just gonna bring up superstar bands. And the thing is, I feel like the Killers are the most underrated of the superstar bands because people don't realize maybe they don't have a big hit in the States, but they're big all over the world.
again, this song did. this
like-
album did take me
feel
by
like
surprise,
you just
and I liked
described
it a
my
lot.
argument for Linkin Park. They're not
Linkin
that-
Park, yeah, woo. But yeah, no, I hated this song. Did I give it a grade 2.5? 2.5.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wow.
So you're basically saying we got to run for cover
No,
from.
can I give
the
a-
rap.
can I give
let
my
him
mark?
do his thing.
Can I give a mark?
Did you not?
No, I
give me a
didn't.
mark?
4.5.
Okay, run for cover. This was better fluff. I mean, to me, I like this one a little more because it had more energy, and given the last couple, it needed life breathed back into it, right? As we're running for cover, and at first I was stupidly confused about why this song made sense for this album. I'm not gonna lie, and then as we've been talking about the story, it's kind of made a little bit more sense to me, and I guess this is just the reaction to when you're trying to deal with stuff and the desire to run and as you're trying to go through hard things to escape and stuff. And yeah, okay, it makes sense. It even makes sense story-wise where it does on the album, and it flows into that. This had a video, right? This was...
Yeah.
The one with the chick getting hit by the car.
Yeah.
And then throwing a Molotov cocktail.
Sure.
Sad.
Whatever. I'm not the biggest music video person.
Yeah.
That's fine. This song, I don't know. Like, it was better. If it came on, I would skip it. As most of this album so far, I would probably skip. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not again a shot at the quality of the music.
Just not your music.
It makes sense as a single, and it's pretty good as a single. I could see myself singing along to it in the future, as much as to my chagrin, even. It will. Some of these songs are gonna be earworms that like sink in, and I can't help it. It's the kind of music they make, and genuine. Hell, in 6 months, I might even love one or two of these songs I'm not liking today. That's even possible. It's that kind of music, and what you said about listening to it 10 times made a lot of sense. It resonated with me, and I thought about that a bit. Either way, give us a 3.5. It's not a great, fucking great song, but it's not boring. It's got some life.
Oh, me? Okay. Yeah. No, I didn't like this song. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be a little more upbeat finally after the last two really slow songs, but yeah, it's more upbeat. That's about it. It still feels like a lackluster kind of haphazardly thrown together tune. It feels like it's kind of trying to recapture a little bit of the magic of a song like Mr. Brightside. That
was the
dance vibe, that cheery kind of chorus, but it's just it doesn't do it for me. Like the melodies just aren't there. That's it. It gets a 3 for me. It's marginally better than the last tune, but only marginally.
You should say your number early on so that we don't forget
No.
about
You keep what I got. So the music video, it's two people arguing and a lot of violence and running and escaping. It could be a shot of instead of actually working out your problems, you're just arguing and you run away from your problems. And so the car actually is them meeting a wall and hitting it head on. And they showed it in a violet thing. That could be a deeper meaning. Who knows? The song is...
Well, no, I mean, I think you actually touched on the core of the song. It's about, like, you think about it. They presented that there's a serious problem in their relationship that they're trying to deal with, that they're trying to bridge that gap of understanding. And when you actually do try to deal with those things, it often is explosive, and your first reaction is going to be to run away. And you even whether it's you don't talk...
Run for cover.
Yeah, no. So, like, it's almost too obvious.
Yeah. It's one of those songs that you know is gonna get a remix. Like I was saying before with The Man, maybe they'll come out with a super deluxe edition because I wouldn't be surprised, and they'll have a remix for this one, or there'll be a Spotify exclusive, or a YouTube exclusive, something different. This is I can see like 30 DJs next year at Tomorrowland playing one of these songs with like a different tune. I enjoyed it. It's probably one of their worst singles though, in my opinion. So I gave it a 3 because it gets boring.
I gave this one the highest mark.
Yeah, you did.
Holy crap.
Thanks, man.
That's all right.
Down goes Tyson.
Tyson versus Douglas. That's what this was.
Down go Tyson.
We could change the channel, take the phone off.
We're back. I like this song.
4.5 on 5. Starting it off. This was fucking great. I was like, where the hell is this the whole way through? This is so good. Okay, like I really freaking like this song. It had the honesty and excellent songwriting that fit the story of this album, right? And all of the other stuff. But all of a sudden, we got this energy that makes sense for a great song. It's got the composition. The chorus is a freaking banger. Like, everything about this works. I was bamboozled by, like, how much I really liked it. I was just expecting it to be another boring experience, and it just...
Surprised.
It was like, what... I don't know, man. I like the idea of comparing the battle that they're having right now at the Tyson versus Douglas fight and the complexities of the emotions and the getting back up again. It was so uplifting. I don't know. It's really dope. Okay, Syd.
To finish off my sentence, I like this song a little more than I like the last one.
Fair enough. Oh, I had to
like
explode on that one.
A little more. Yeah, man, you were holding that in.
Essence of holding everywhere.
Yeah, just everywhere. Okay. I even like the song a little more than I did 2 minutes ago because of that explosion of passion for the song. Like, I actually didn't like this song very much.
I got it, like, I was out of the splooge zone. He got it all. So
yeah, it was just like splooge all over me.
It was so good.
I still felt like this was kind of a by the numbers track.
It was.
I'll agree with you. I love the chorus. The chorus is great.
But it was like, look, sometimes... Okay, but even if you have a by the numbers thing, sometimes you can do it so well that it looks like a Picasso, right? And I feel like they did... This whole album to me is a little bit by the numbers. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and again, I already admitted my ignorance to the genre, but this was, like, really well crafted. Like, I don't see flaws in this song. It doesn't... It evolves. It's got diverse stimuli to keep me intrigued. It's like, it hits me in the right feels.
He's like that little kid looking at flashing lights right now. He's just like grabbing his attention. Oh, my God.
It's pretty great.
Kaleidoscope.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I think this is this is something you should listen to if you tend to like my opinions on these reviews.
And if you're regular people,
this
this song, I felt like the verses were a little bit tossed together. Just kind of like, okay, we have a great chorus, build a song around it. You know what I mean? Like, and there's a really cool little guitar lick right at the end that goes into the last chorus that I was like, we need to hear that again. And I made them sit through it.
Yes.
But I didn't like the guitar solo, and it kind of mirrors the verses in the sense that it just kind of feels thrown on there. It's not there wasn't a lot of effort put into writing it. It kind of feels like just a bunch of separate instrumental parts that work in terms of timing and key, but just don't really mesh. Nice. Fuck off. But I love the chorus, so I'll give it a 3.5. There you go.
I enjoyed it. I liked I wasn't a big fan in the beginning because of the Tyson and the Douglas reference, but then learning about it afterwards and then listening to the chorus and the song was actually really good. Like, this is one of those songs that stuck out from the whole album. But the thing is, which kind of made it cool afterwards is, like, you kind of get into the little intro with the Tyson thing because it brings back that memory. And then you know what they're gonna do? They're actually gonna make kids go on YouTube and search up what happened there, and see what went on with the fight. So which is
Like,
another kind of cool thing.
I'm not even a kid. I just researched that because I had no idea before this song. Now I know that there's a Tyson versus Douglas fight.
And it was a big thing.
Yeah, I didn't
And it's
know
like
that.
he's bringing like notice to history in a way too, because that was another big. It was a big fight. It changed the world in a way.
Okay.
Anyways, I like the song a lot. I gave it a 4.5. I jammed to it. I would listen to this again. It's a plus. I was quite pleasantly surprised, my good friends.
That is some kind of love. I like this song.
I like this song too.
I'm bored.
Holden's bored.
It was
No,
bad.
I mean like this song is. Go on, just say good things so that they don't dislike us.
I really, really, really. Hang on a second. Let me check my notes.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
Check notes
so,
real quick.
Jay, take it away.
So while my friend rudely reads his notes, I will actually shit on this song for once.
Oh man, what a
And
shitter.
I love this. I love this, man. It was so boring. It was so fucking monotone. It's just basically, it's not even singing. It's him reading off a script almost. It's like, and even the instruments were horrible. It was just so
And the
bland.
kids, like their kids are at the end singing
Okay, I
to
feel
mommy.
so bad right now for that. But you know what the problem is? It's 4 minutes and 38 song. It's like
There's
no,
not
it's
a lot of
38
actual
songs.
lyrics that are
it's
distinct.
Yeah, it's 2 minutes
It's
and
very
38 song.
repetitious.
2 minutes and 38 seconds too long. If you're gonna make something like this and not have too many words in a
it's
story,
sweet. It's nice to because the whole premise is now at this point in the story they've been dealing with the challenge
yeah, because she's suicidal, and I
and
understand that.
whatnot, and now it's saying, but yo, check it. You've got all the love. You got hubby. You got kids. You got love coming at you.
Maybe but that's the thing. If your marriage is is in a battleground in a way, you shouldn't be in your marriage to
That's
save
not
your
the
kids.
kind of battleground that it is.
But maybe it is. Maybe
No,
because
no,
you
no.
brought up a point. Hold on.
Because I looked into what was being said. This isn't that. Even if you listen to the tone of this album, that's not the kind of fighting they're
No, but
having
what-
and stuff. This is more like she's depressed. She's kind of isolated, and she needs him to love her and be patient.
But hold on,
and
we
blah,
brought
blah,
up
blah.
a point, and you brought up that lyric before, where there might have been where he did something wrong, and he might have cheated on her, or did something wrong completely, and maybe
Okay.
she's feeling so disconnected to him, and maybe she's just staying because she's comfortable in her lifestyle with him, and maybe they're doing more harm to the kids. And you know what? If you think about it, this could be the douchebag part of this all. And it's like, hey, I wrote all these songs for you, but let's just add that extra kick and let's get our kids involved.
I don't see it like that. I mean, I think based on. Well, I mean, we don't really know what exactly
No, we're guessing.
is happening.
That's the thing. It's a story. And we have to
However,
guess.
based on how he's written these songs, I feel like it's more like he's on the outside just trying to be there for her and he doesn't know how.
But he's outside. Usually when it's hard for someone to let people in, but if there's that one part where we're trying to guess, and if there was that one situation where he was unfaithful, it'll be even 4, 5, 6, 10, and Kyle Ken times 20 times harder for them to be in it.
Maybe.
So
but
if
I
he's
think
doing the
that
CD for her, I'm really hoping they can work it out, or whatever's going
I
on.
just don't.
Yeah.
I think it's a gross assumption to make that he cheated on her. I don't know what he.
Well, we're
I think
guessing
he's-
here. I'm guessing,
You're
but I'm
guessing.
just saying.
I'm saying that what we're seeing here is that this song really just fits the theme of the story.
Yes.
I think the whole album is like this is what battling depression feels like. Like that's what he's
Yeah.
going for.
Up and down. Yeah.
And like the title "Wonderful, Wonderful," the album's ironic, right? And given what you guys have described with the Killers, they like irony, so
2.5.
that makes
I like
sense.
irony. Oh, 2.5.
I give it another 3 because I get it. It makes
Okay.
sense. It's boring. It's not bad. It's just freaky, long, slow song.
So I think I really like this one because after the previous 3 that I just shat all over, I was happy to just hear a song that sounded like a song.
Okay.
Like it's a cohesive piece of music. Everything gels really, really well. I liked that it was super minimal. I liked there wasn't too much. Again, I liked the way that they build without getting louder or heavier or more violent or more aggressive. Like it's a soft build on a soft song, but you really feel the difference at the end of the song.
Okay.
At the beginning of the song, I was like, oh shit, not another power ballad. And I found myself wondering how much longer how much was left of the record. But by the end of the song, I was back on. Did a good job of catching my attention again. It was a little long. I'll give you that. But I really didn't feel like I'm giving this one a 4. I liked it a lot.
Sounds be Out of the Mind.
Oh yeah, right, Out of My Mind.
Out of My Mind. I actually enjoyed the song.
Boring.
I really liked it.
Liked it a lot.
It was
Didn't
fun.
like it.
Super cool.
At this point, I mean, okay, whatever. It fits the album. It's another song about
another
communicating and blah blah blahs, and
Give it a
I just don't have the
4.5.
luster for this. Honestly, I get it. It's got a little more life to it. It's just at this point, I'm bored. I'm like, maybe I'm not even being fair anymore. I give it a 3. I didn't want to listen to it. I tried. I really want. No, I'm done. You guys can talk.
Okay, super into this song. Liked it a lot more than either Run for Cover or that other song that I didn't like, Tyson Vs Douglas. I felt like this was a solid attempt and a solid success at what those songs were trying to do. Very funky, super upbeat. It got my head bopping right away. Vocals sound a little too much like Bono, because fuck Bono, but I forgive them because it is a great song with a great chorus
Bono's awesome.
and just really well put together, well written, well produced. Not too long, not too short. Just 4.
I give it a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. I like the whole essence of the song. I can bump to this. I'll probably, you know what? I'll even call it now. I'm gonna bump it this when I drive home.
Like if there was a song that could be cut, I think it's this one.
I don't think the song could be cut.
Even thematically, like lyrically, it doesn't need to be here on the album. It almost is starting to get a little redundant for me at this point, and I couldn't.
Thank
do
God
it.
you're not calling the shots.
Relax yourself.
Man, this album, from the last couple songs for me, just keeps getting better and better. This track was like, I really didn't think I was gonna like it from the intro. I thought it was gonna be one of those preachy, kind of like melodramatic, slow, anti-religious, anti-Republican kind of rants. But then this, like, it kicks into this dirty blues lick and this almost like bluegrass kind of backbeat going on that turns into this really fist-pumping chorus, and it's really mean and it's really gritty. And again, not something I would ever expect to hear from the Killers. So yeah, like this one gets a 4.5. And again, coming from someone who has not been the biggest listener of the Killers, and I only really liked one of their songs in the past,
Yeah.
Mr.
No, this is
Brightside.
kind of a typical song for them. They have these on every single one of their albums. It's one of those gritty fighter songs.
Yeah.
Like it's bringing out that emotion and trying out something different. I really enjoyed it. I really like everything about this song was fun.
Yeah.
It's like they're out of your comfort zone. They just wanted to challenge themselves. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this story, but you know what? I'm still the Killers. Here's that change.
I mean,
I gave it a 5.
There were well placed religious references, I suppose. Lyrically, it feels weird. I mean, as much as the other one I said was kind of redundant, I don't really get how this fits into the album. It appears to be like faith-based, I guess, trying to play into that a little bit. Maybe he's the preacher trying to bring salvation to her or something along those lines, and it does play up like when he says stuff like, I got the last 2 chapters of Matthew in my hands, so that's like the resurrection story. And so I guess there's some degree of or getting to like he wants to take a more active role in things. I love that it's different. I like that all of a sudden we got something, and maybe they do this on every album. It's a good idea. It gives them people something different. It should have come 2-3 songs before this, man. It's so close to the end of the regular album now. I mean, I know that you do want to throw something different a little bit there, but there was so much of the same before this that for me this was like the oasis. I felt like I got some like water in my like dry mouth for a minute, and I really, really did enjoy it. But I know it's one of those songs where I liked it a lot more because of what I had just heard than I actually really enjoy the song, and I would never, ever go back to it. So 3.5 on 5.
Fair enough. I mean, I felt like I would go back to this song. I actually genuinely enjoyed it, not just as a Killers track, but like as a song.
Like
It's not terrible. It's just whatever. And
I gave it a 5. I said it.
All right, so
I really enjoyed it. I was
So
pleasantly surprised.
have all the songs been written?
the Killers seem to think so. So this is the end of the album as far as the albums goes.
But we're doing the deluxe edition.
Yeah. So I guess he's now wondering, because in the last song you wanted to take a more active role, so he's just like,
is this it for us, or
have I written all the songs? Can I get through to you? Can I actually get through? Like, all I want is to write one song that will save you. And that's basically what this is. Actually, again, it's super sweet, and we're back on that Notebook vibe where he wants to jump in and be there. You can also feel the futility. He's obviously written all these other songs and they haven't worked. And he's already tried all these things, and we're seeing that it's not necessarily the most pleasant situation. So maybe you're right. Maybe there is some marital discord per se, but I don't know if that's what he's trying to convey. I think that they're losing this battle with depression, and he's afraid that one day something bad is going to come out of it, and that his efforts are just not meaningful anymore, and he doesn't know what to do next to save her.
I'd like to know how old his kids. I have to check that out after. But
yeah, so for me, this was romantic again, super sweet, but man, kind of boring.
Yeah.
Kind of repetitive.
But it's kind of like ending the chapter,
It's I've noticed a lot of these albums lately have these kind of slower, soft songs at the end to wrap it all up. And I do feel that's exactly what his purpose was. It was a slower, soft song at the end of this album to wrap up the story with a non-Hollywood ending. Kudos to that. I mean, it clearly, I'm sorry that your life isn't great right now, and not to take a shit on that. But I kind of like the realistic ending that comes to this story, and not the fluffy one that could have been here. And this is the least fluffy song on the album because of it.
I dropped a 5 on this one.
Oh, wow.
I loved this song. I'm going to throw this out there. If you can perform this song in some capacity that sounds good and is well delivered to any girl, it will get you laid.
Yeah, probably.
Like crazy. There's so much honesty in this track. The harmonies are amazing. The melodies, hold up. Let me get the notes real quick.
All right, Jay, start shitting.
Whoa. This is the power ballad all other power ballads should aspire to be.
Oh.
Okay.
Hear that,
Thank
80s
you,
rock
Killers.
stars?
So yeah, no. Everything about this track, from the subtlety in the drums to the great guitar licks, kind of playing in between the vocals, and the vocals kind of being delivered almost improvisationally, but with a lot of feeling and with a lot of vigor. Yeah, man, this one got me right in the feels.
Fair.
I enjoyed the song. I really did, to a point. It's all over the place with the CD, and you know what? That's what he's trying to show in a way too, because it's up and down, and it's a battle, and with other things that's gone on in this world right now, with the passing of another great artist, you can kind of see that this is a battle that we're losing in a way, and it hits more the artistic people the most, and it's kind of sad that they're taking the easy way out in a way.
Okay.
Because they're not realizing, and I just hope as a person and for his family that they could deal with this without something drastic happening and changing the outcome of their family. The song really does hit them. It hits a nerve and everything. It's still the CD had a lot of it. That's why I kind of got disappointed, because I was looking for one of those upbeat CDs, but I'm not hating it.
Okay.
And I appreciated what they let out, because this is probably in the last few, except for some hip hop albums, this is probably one of the only CDs I've seen with a lot of emotion and depth and hard aching.
I don't know if
It's definitely a very downbeat album. It's not.
It's very personal.
It's very personal, but for the most part, it's not. These aren't songs that are gonna make you want to hit the dance floor. They're songs that are gonna make you want to sit back and reflect on life in a deep kind of nostalgic sense. And maybe that's not what you want in an album in general. That's not necessarily what I want when I sit back and throw on an album. I want something that's gonna distract me or get me going, or
this is one of those albums.
This is one of those albums that you're gonna relate to when you have that moment.
That's it, and it's not easy to listen to because there is a lot of emotion in it. But
you can see yourself. I could see a person dropping a tear during this album, and just it hitting you hard. Because I've had an experience where we were playing. I'll give you a joke. It's kind of funny at the same time too, because I have a friend who thinks he's super macho, and out of nowhere, I know it's not you. I said macho. I said macho. for a reason.
You already know.
Okay.
Anyway, so like my fast story fast. I had a friend who's really macho, and we started playing a song from the Beatles, and he just bursted out in tears. And I looked at him like, "It's a hard day's life. It's a hard
day's night."
Hey, thank you, that one.
Yeah.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
That's the track you started crying to.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was weird.
Interesting. Indeed.
Interesting.
And
Alright.
that's it. I could see people that are trying to be like super tough, breaking down and crying, and I think that's what they're doing. They're trying to get you to cry out that emotion that, you know, instead of hiding behind that wall.
Don't be the man.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
I give it a 4.5.
All right, and that's the end of the album. That was album. And,
And next to come the
Yeah,
deluxe
but
edition.
I mean, money or
Money on
something.
straight.
Money.
Get your money on straight.
I will not be purchasing the deluxe edition.
I can see why this didn't make the album.
purchasing the regular edition.
Yeah, I buy every one of their CDs.
Oh man, look at this guy supporting.
I can tell you one thing though. This didn't belong on the album.
Oh, yeah.
It made sense to be a bonus track.
But you know what? After the really really naked emotion of the last one, I appreciated this one.
Yes.
Coming on because it's just so fluffy
And it's so different.
so happy,
This
and it's
is like
really
the
different.
lamest nonconformist anthem I've ever heard.
I did not enjoy this song.
I didn't like.
I mean,
just
it's
felt,
not a bad song.
I felt like an elation. Like I felt like I had a weight lifted off my shoulders when this song started
He
playing.
just went to the bathroom. He's saying that.
Right after I listened to the song. But no, in all seriousness, like there's just something about the way it's composed and the way it's produced and the way the melodies are put together that just made me feel light. You know what I mean? And I give this one a 3.5.
I give it a 3.5 as well.
Hey.
You know why it really didn't do better is because the verses are the same,
Mhm.
the choruses are the same, and the bridge at the end is really lovely. I did like that. But it wasn't like as boring as some of the ones I've called boring. Like there was some life to this song. The energy is completely different. We are no longer talking about his depressed
Jay
wife.
disagrees.
I actually see his point. I just want to shake my head to crack my neck.
But yeah, no, because like it's no longer about the depressed wife. We're talking about him, and this is like again. I felt like this was anecdotal. He was describing just kind of how he's a weirdo in life, and everyone's told him the way he's supposed to be, and he's kind of done his own thing. In my opinion, you probably did the right thing doing your own thing, Mr. Brandon Killers, man. You have done quite well
Mr.
musically.
Brandon Killers, man.
I appreciate that.
Even his EP where he released himself was pretty good.
So like, I
didn't
mean,
hear it.
this
Pretty
song.
interesting.
This song is just like a good like it's like having a different kind of cake after having a lot of other cake. So it's still cake.
So instead of having your cheesecake all the time, you went out and had a Black Forest.
Sure, yeah, that and whatever. And I ate the cake and I was just like,
Nom, nom,
I mean, I
nom.
was still kind of in the mood for cake,
Black
and
Forest is
I
my
kind of
favorite cake.
liked having a new
Really?
kind
Yeah.
to have.
That's interesting.
Cherries.
It is pretty good.
I love popping
No.
cherries.
Okay, let's
It
not
really
be
is.
fat kids and talk
Still,
about cake.
still,
Popping
it's
cherries
just
in
like
the ice.
okay. Not like anyway. So anyway, yeah, the song's better than the last one, but I understand that they're completely different experiences. And you, Jay?
I give it a 2.5. I could live without it. I didn't enjoy it.
Why?
Because it was just boring to me.
Hater.
Okay, fair enough.
But they
So-
had the parts you said. I understand. Maybe I'll change my perspective later on. Maybe it's a song that I have to be in the mood in.
Well, it's
And-
just it's not a part of the album. It's just like here's an extra Killers
Well, that's why I
jam
have
for your-
Spotify, so I can
that's
hear
it.
songs that I don't want to buy for free.
I like
Well,
this album. It gets a 4 from me.
Oh man, this album got a 3.45. I feel like it's
It
like
got higher than I expected, actually.
I mean, I didn't really think anything on this album was bad. It's like bad was never really my intention. Boring and bad aren't the same. Boring isn't interesting. I subjectively think this is so far out of my interest, it's done. But compared to how bad it could have been, compared to the Don't Shoot Me Santa song,
That was a
this
good
is
song.
excellent. Like this is freaking got something to it. I mean, I'm dealing with a relatable situation, so I could connect to the lyrics, to the album in general. I do think that this is an album that is not meant, like you were saying, to go put on and vibe to. It's meant to, like, when you need to escape those harsher moments in life, you can go cry with Brandon.
Go Cry with Brandon.
And that's
There
what
were
this is.
3 songs that I hated, and everything else was gold. Way to
Okay.
go, Killers.
I enjoyed the CD. I gave it a 4.2 because I wanted to give it a 0.2 so I sounded cool like Holden.
No, it should be like 4.297.
Yeah.
That's actually what it became now.
3-6.
So, and no, it was a Killers album just with deeper meaning.
Okay.
It was good. It was a good experience. It was good to see from his side more in depth instead of hearing 2 or 3 songs of a story and then going into a bunch of like boom, 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 and dancing all the time. It was good to see some, him mature as an artist.
Boom, boom, boom,
That's
boom,
fair.
boom, 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 which is
All
what
right.
I'm gonna do.
Come back,
On the
like,
bar
subscribe.
tonight.
You know
So,
where
yeah,
we
we're
are.
done.
Please
Um,
comment.
We really appreciate you guys watching it. We also value your feedback when
Free
you do.
ABBA.
Even if your comment is like that big and telling us we failed to do our jobs to adequately
We don't
prepare,
care.
we appreciate your comments still. Please leave them because then we know what's up.
Us.
And if you happen to be a songwriter for the Killers, also feel free to comment and let us know. That's cool.
Tell us,
And-
Brandon.
Yeah, we want you to talk to us. It's a community and stuff.
We want you to hold us and sing to us.
We're lonely.
Yeah, also click show more. You can get a hold of us and stuff, and we'll holla at you next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye
Take care.
bye.